That was the absolute wrong introduction. My fault. I forgot to take that one out and put another one in, man. But looking for my Bears heads tonight. I know this is off schedule. Nobody's expecting this, but it's just me tonight. Just came in here to talk some football, talk about the Bears, talk about this Luther Burden situation. Looking to see if we got some ears and eyes and ears out there tonight. So y'all want to talk about some football? Let's get it cracking. Yo, 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 no maniacs, super no maniacs, and all in between. Welcome to another edition of Feed the Bears with me by myself, here to talk some football tonight. Nobody's here so far, so I'm talking to air right now. I don't know who's watching, who's listening, wherever, but on this Saturday night, didn't expect to see a bunch of people out listening to or looking for Bears content on a Saturday night, man. It's a nice evening out here in the area, man. Everybody, I'm asking for excuse me ahead of time because I had my window open back here in my man cave, and everybody and their mama got the Hellcats out today, man. Everybody, every single person has a Hellcat, seems like right about now, and loud music, and it's just popping right about now. A lot of things going on in the area, man, protests and all this kind of stuff going on. Shout out to those people who standing up and being encouraging out there in the fight, man. So shout out to everybody out there in the protests involved right now. Listen, I don't want this whole podcast, and I'm gonna be here for a little bit, until people start hanging out and coming into the chat, and I'll answer some questions whoever comes in and asks them. But I don't want this whole conversation to be about Luther Burden and his contract situation. I do want to talk about that and talk about it in a little bit of detail, which is not a whole lot out there. It's just a whole lot of assumption about what may or may not be going on with his contract situation. So let me just start there because I'm going to tell you all right up front, and for those who are familiar with the podcast and the network, and they're used to hearing my takes on whatever, everybody knows me as a player first kind of podcaster. So I'm going to always I'm always have a little bent towards whatever the player aspect of a situation is versus a billionaire organization like the Chicago Bears and what they think. There is definitely a selfish side of me, a Bears side of me, a Bears fan side of me that wants that guy on the field for sure. Because I want to see the Bears be really good. I know he should be an integral part of it. And so I don't want this to get twisted because I'm gonna give you a strong take on why I want to see Luther Burden, whatever you need to do at this point to make sure you get the money you need guaranteed for you to get on the field. Take all the time you need. I would just say, my boy, take all the time you need. The Bears will be fine with or without Luther Burden. If he wants to hold out and make sure he gets the money that he thinks he deserves, then you do just that. Because at the end of the day, this is a gladiator sport. It's violent, very extremely violent. And I just want people to know that not sometimes, but every single time that you step foot on that grass, there's a chance that could be the last time you physically play that game again. I don't care who you are. You can be a 19, 20-year-old. You could be a 35-year-old, whatever it is. For a fact that you've seen, all you have to do is play enough football. You've seen the freakiest things happen to individuals, just doing routine things on the field. So imagine what happens when the violence goes up the notch and people start hitting each other everywhere and every part of their bodies. You might get taken out. And so I think we're heading. I think we're in a shout out to Liberty's Outlook who just busted up in this piece. Shout out Liberty. But I think we're in a weird space right now. I wouldn't call it weird, but I think we're in a different space when it comes to football, especially football and the contracts not being guaranteed. There's a certain level of, I don't think that part of the league is fair. I think it's the violence of the game is so unique. It's almost impossible. At some point, they're gonna have to guarantee these guys' contracts. At some point, and I wouldn't be surprised if, and I'm not wishing this. I'm knocking on wood right now, just to say that it would not surprise me if sometime in the very near future, and I hate to even say this word with the S, but it's quite possible. Whenever there's new precedents being set, you're talking about the first 2 second rounders that got picked this year got guaranteed money. That's the first time ever. That's a new precedent. So now when that happens, the business model has to change, right? The business model has to change because everybody's going to be looking at that and be like, hey, man, look, hey, I should be getting some guaranteed money too. But forget where I'm getting drafted at. You drafted me this high because you thought I was that good. Guarantee the money. You can't really use stats against me. You drafted me here. You thought I was that good. Pay me. Guarantee me. So that's just my take on that part of it. It's purely the football players aspect of it. Purely. I just want to see guys get what they're worth. And I don't like, people trying not to give those guys what I know they deserve. And they know they deserve. And so, whatever happens in the situation, I can say this. Shout out to AC who just busted up in this piece. Second person in the chat. AC Adams, shout out to you. I will say this. Now, from the football player, the selfish football fan in me, and this ain't the selfish part of me. I do want to see him on the field for selfish reasons. But here's what happens when you don't get on the field and get those reps that you need in camp in order to have the season that you believe you can have as a rookie. There's a thing called mental reps that every player that's not playing or participating in OTAs, training camp, all those things, those guys are on the sidelines, whether they're having, soft tissue injury issues or what have it. They're just sitting out because their contract ain't right. Whatever it is, you can sit there and take mental reps. And they're not worth nothing. I would just say that, but they aren't quite the same as cleats on the grass, fundamentally going through those with your physical body. Huge difference. Huge difference. What that's going to do to Luther Burden in the near future, depending on how long this lasts. If this goes into training camp, it's already costed him some of the rookie OTA session. It's already cost him the mandatory OTA session. It's more to that than I think most people would imagine. You could be in that building, getting all the information, getting it on your iPad, looking at it, just kind of downloading into your memory, knowing where your role is in all the fundamental scheming that's going on. And then to go out there and put it on grass and actually run through it physically, it's a totally different world. It's a totally different world. And so he's missing a lot. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no, he'll be fine. Nope, he's missing quite a bit. That's a big, he has to make such a huge leap in these sessions, just being a rookie and having so much being poured onto him. He's got to make a huge leap. And him not being there for the OTA sessions are going to cost him. Now, the flip side to it is they did yeoman's work in the offseason, making sure they got Olamide Zaccheaus, making sure they grabbed Devin Duvernay. We still have Tyler Scott. And we also grabbed one of my favorite people to talk about right about now, and that's J.P. Richardson, who was going to get a lot of those reps that whatever, if Luther Burden's not there, J.P. Richardson is going to get a lot of those rookie reps that would have been allotted for Luther Burden. That's just the God's honest truth. I know that Olamide Zaccheaus is going to play a huge role in the offense in the slot role anyway, whether Luther Burden's here or not. It's about, for Luther Burden, it's about coming in and seeing if he can take some of that away from Olamide Zaccheaus. Can he outplay Olamide Zaccheaus and get more reps and get on the field faster? But I think Olamide Zaccheaus is going to be a factor on the offense immediately, especially with Luther Burden, not being signed and not being ready for camp in the whole 9 yards. So that's what I think is going to happen. But keep your eye out and ears out for the name J.P. Richardson in camp. I think you're going to hear a lot of it. I was very, very, very confident in what I saw on tape. I thought his game was super duper mature. And what I mean by mature, he does things that 7-8 year veterans in the NFL, little nuanced stuff that guys do on the field to break open and get themselves into space and, knowing when to sit down on a in zone coverage and where. Little things like that, DBs pay attention to because you have to defend that stuff. He's just very, very cagey for a kid his age, man. And I think he's going to be amazing for us, man. How this thing all shakes out in camp, we will see. But shout out to JJ Smiley, just busted up in this piece. Appreciate y'all for coming up in here, man. So yeah, that's just. So what do you guys we could talk a little bit more about Luther Burden as we go on, but what do you guys like? One thing that I did want to talk about is, and I think I put a couple of shorts out, speaking to this a little bit. I think Kids and Trips kind of took over most of the words. I edited so they could, have a voice on the shorts, but I edited my part out of it, which I shouldn't have. But part of what I would want to see, hopefully these guys in the off season are staying out of trouble. It's 20-something year old, early 20-something year olds. They're gonna want to be out having fun. But I think you have to approach this with a certain kind of mindset, especially once you turn professional. You have to approach this in a certain way and know that avoiding, the pitfalls that are out there in this much time that you have to yourself is of the utmost importance, right? You have to know that, hey, I figured this out, and I know most of these guys already did too in high school. The minute I start getting attention from colleges and all that kind of stuff, being in the paper and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be a lot of people that cheer for you. It's going to be that little pocket of nasty little trolls that want to see something bad happen. They don't like it. And so you got to know that everywhere, man, especially if you're a public figure, if your face is noticeable when you go out. Your average football player, most people don't know who those guys are when they're out of pads. Nobody. And you have to be a certain person. Like, people will know who Shedeur Sanders is, of course. Rookie for the Cleveland Browns. Everywhere he goes, people are going to notice him. Travis, what's his name, with the Jaguars. All those guys people will know. But we got a lot of guys on the team. Nobody absolutely, if one of those guys walked up to you and kicked you right in your ass in the middle of Costco, you wouldn't know who they were. But that's a good thing for them. But when people find out who you are, you walking around with other football players, very well-built guys, and people gonna start paying attention and be like, "Hey, oh man, that little dude kind of big. They play football or something." Next thing you know, some little dude or girl will come up and ask them, "Hey, you play football?" And there it goes, You'll have people happy for you, and coming up and offering you stuff, and then you'll have people hating on you. The longer you hang out, so I would just say, I can't tell somebody that's that age, don't go out and have fun. I can say is choreograph your work and build in your fun into it. That's what I would say. That's probably the best way I can describe how I had to learn to move. You build in your fun into the work. And so I put a short out, and basically we were talking about how Caleb, and this is Kids, I think I said it first, and then Kids kind of compounded on it and said that, hey, you got the money. Caleb, talking about Caleb Williams, just go buy out a resort for a couple of weeks. Buy out, several hotel rooms in the resort. Get a section of the beach to yourself. Bring your players along with you. Bring DJ and his family. Bring Rome and his girl. Bring Swift and whoever he's, his family. Bring those guys because you need reps with it. Luther Burden, Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland, all those guys. That's what I mean by having fun while you're working out. While you're working out, build in the fun to it. You can get, hey man, at the end of the night, once you done rolled and did whatever you had to do, you want to hang out at the bar, go ahead. You earned it. But just know tomorrow, first thing in the morning, we finna get right back to it. So do what you do, with discretion. That's what I would say, but hopefully they go down that road. I would love to hear a story coming out moving forward soon that they're in Cabo St. Lucas and they're all down there, whatever. I would just love to hear a story like I just got through describing, man. I think that would be great for the team. But, hopefully they're in the off season, keeping out of trouble, not being a name in the papers or on the news and that whole 9 yards, man. There's so many traps out there, just too many to count. But this offseason here, man, it's starting to, just thinking about 6 whole weeks without football and nothing really to sink my teeth in, man. It's kind of rough for me. I told you guys that on the last show. It's always that for me. And tonight I just was, my girlfriend's schedule is kind of mixed up right about now. She's going to school in the day and, she's home in the afternoons, and I'm trying to spend some time while I got some time before this long season starts with her. So we've been notably absent out here in the Bears universe, man, that's why, man. I'm just trying to spend some quality time with the other half as much as I can before we get into the season, where she know that time is very, very limited. It's go time for us. And so just trying to get in all I can tonight. I decided, I'm like, man, you know what? She's at work this evening. Let me go ahead and do a podcast and talk to the natives, man. See what's going on, how people are thinking, man. Because I do feel pretty good about this year. What I mean by pretty good, I'm still on the fence, man, about how good this thing can be, what I should expect. I'm not going to tell anybody else what they should expect, but I can go through some details of why certain things may play out the way it might play out. And let's just start on the defensive side of the ball. And by the way, tomorrow on Nomad at Night at 8 p.m. Central, we're going to have Sean Sierra's going to come back and kick it with us, man. I haven't had Sean on in a while. I talked to him earlier in the week, and right away, he was just like, man, yeah, we need to talk about that. Let's do a show. And we're going to talk about the schematics of what Caleb and them might be doing offensively, probably some defense too, and how that situation can be schemed up to create the kind of mismatch nightmares that I believe, and I've been just going through the files in my head. It's like my head's like a file cabinet of just ideas and thoughts on how they might present themselves with these weapons that they have. Sean, I was looking at I got up a little bit late and caught the butt end of his show, and he was kind of talking about that. I was just like, you know what, man, we need to get together and have a hell of a show. And we're going to do that tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. So you guys show up for that. It's going to be a good one, man. Sean knows that ball like I do, and it's going to be him and kids. We're going to go all around the board, and I'm sure we'll talk some defense. But let me start there tonight about, different things. That one thing I will say, and I said this before on a previous show too, that I want to see if you guys can understand where I'm coming from. So I got a feeling that the Bears defense, as good as that roster is and as good as the depth is, I think they potentially I strongly believe that they could get off to a slow start. And I'll tell you why. Whenever there's a new offense on your team, so all the looks that they're getting right now is from their Chicago Bears offensive looks. That's the only looks they're getting in camp right now until we get into the regular season and they start doing scout team stuff and start preparing for whatever Minnesota is going to do, and they start getting those kinds of looks. But until then, it's going to be our defense against your offense, the Chicago Bears defense against the Chicago Bears offense. Why I think, and I'm pretty sure that the defense might get off to a little bit of a sluggish start, is because the Bears offense isn't oiled and fine-tuned enough to really, really present strong challenges consistently to that defense versus a team. And I apologize to the ones that already heard me say this before, versus a team like, let's just say the Rams that have been in the same offense forever. They've had the same quarterback forever that knows this stuff with a blindfold on him and can just throw it wherever, and it's going to be a completion because that's how well he knows the offense. That's a tough challenge for a defense in training camp. Tough challenge. We don't have that going on just yet. They're installing this stuff as we speak, and hopefully they can get off to a decent start in camp and give the defense some decent looks. But I don't think they'll see what they need to see to get them ready for an NFL regular season or a first game or two. I think it's going to take real live, another team for a game or two to really test that defense. As good as it is on paper, I think it's going to be a test for them to get up to that speed, because it's going to be a whole lot of herky-jerky hits and misses and, dysfunction going on in a new installed offense with a second-year quarterback. That's just what it's going to be. It's going to be some headache days. And the defense is going to be over there with the hands on the hips. They're blowing the whistle every 5 minutes, telling them to set back up, do it again. All that kind of stuff has got to happen in the camp in order for the offense to kind of achieve and get better, right? So that's what I expect to happen in this training camp. Somebody will probably say that at some point, hey, those are the looks we got. The offense struggles a little bit it'll be probably late in camp when they'll start getting better looks, probably that last week or so of camp. Hopefully the offense will catch a stride a little bit and then they'll play a little bit better. But I'm telling you right now, the Bears defense very likely might struggle in the first game or two because they haven't seen really good, consistent looks out of the offense in this camp, if you can understand what I mean. But let me check out one of these comments. JJ Smiley, he says, since you're mentioning the defense, what do you feel about the Bears trading for the kid Stewart in Cincinnati? Heard some rumors. So, all right. So, what I think is possibly happening here with Shamar Stewart. If I'm Shamar Stewart and they're playing with my money and they don't want to guarantee my salary, I don't know. I don't know that the Bears. I don't know, man. I would just say it would surprise me, JJ. It would surprise me because I don't know where would he play. I mean, where would be the room for him? I mean, I think we got a pretty nicely talented roster. I mean, along that defensive front to make a trade for him, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I wouldn't see that as something like, hey, we need to do that. I think Shamar Stewart, if he doesn't get what he needs to a couple of weeks in the training camp, they don't give him the money that he probably should get at this point. I think he should just sit on out the year and go back to college. That's what I would do, or just come re-enter the draft, whatever, or just whatever he needs to do. But man, I don't like this situation where these billionaires are trying to cheat these guys out of this guaranteed money. Man, that's just bullshit. That's just straight bullshit. But us trading for him, I can't see it. I can't see it. He is a freakish athlete, though. No doubt he fits. No doubt he fits, JJ Smiley. No doubt he fits. But whose reps is he going to take away? You think about putting a guy like that on the team, somebody's going to be missing some reps. I see Shamar Stewart more as be honest with you, I see him more as a D tackle. Much more so than an edge. I think he's built to play D tackle. I think he can play some edge, but his moves to finish, his moves to finish are really bad, man. They are really bad. I saw that when studying him on tape this offseason. I just was like, yeah, you want an edge rusher that has, at least a couple of moves he can win with. I just didn't see it with him. When he got stopped on power, man, I was just a little disenchanted with it, man. That's just my take on him. Shout out to Mayhem, who just busted up in this piece. Andre Bryant, let me see. Stewart can go back to college, but yeah, he could re-enter the draft. I mean, I think all options are on the table, man. I think we are in a new space. Fellas, I think we are in a new space. Whenever the minute and the second, those first two guys in the second round got guaranteed money for the first time ever, we just entered new airspace. The model, the business model has to change now. Because it's 30 other people who are sitting there like, hey man, you know what? I want some of that money too. So it's a whole other 30 people who haven't, signed their contracts either. So I think we're in a new space, and I think we ought to get used to it. Some guys might sit out, and I won't blame them. I appreciate that, JJ Smile. That's just my opinion. Ain't no better than anybody else's, yours, and anybody else's either. I did study the guy. It's just my take on him. I think he's going to be, depending on, I think in a couple of years from now, I think he'll find, talking about Shamar Stewart, I think he'll find out what I'm saying right now, and I'm just looking into the future. And, you never know. He might get with a really, really good coach or somebody that played before can really tune him up and get him where he needs to be, and he could rock the hell out at edge rusher. But right now, I just didn't see it. I saw more D tackle. I think he's built to play 3-tech like an MF. It's just, will that defense kick him inside and give him those reps? I don't know. But that's what I saw more than anything else. But I appreciate you, JJ. All right, let's see what else we need to talk about, man. I'm looking at, got me a little sheet here. So what do you guys think about? I'm not even going to bring this up because I already said it once. I don't want to say it no more. But let's talk about something else defensively. So I think the starting four up front, and this is going to be, even though I've said this before, I'll say it again for the people who hadn't seen that podcast or heard that show live. I think Javon Dexter, Grady Jarrett are going to be your interior tackles for starting four up front. You're gonna have Dio on one side, and you're gonna have, of course, Montez Sweat on the other. And everybody's wondering, oh, what happened? We don't have Andrew Billings out there. I understand that. And here's my thoughts behind that. And I said this, I think, a couple of Sundays ago on Nomad at Night. And I said, in order for you, because to me, in order to maintain proper pressure on offenses, your first and your second wave need to be kind of dually superior, if you understand what I mean. So it shouldn't be much of a step back when the first team comes off the field and you put those second guys in there. You're talking about strengthening up that second unit. What better way to do that than to put Andrew Billings on that second wave? So they got Andrew Billings now. You probably got whoever, whether it's Shamar Stewart or Shamar Turner, you got Shamar Turner, maybe Zach Pickens, maybe. You got Chris Williams. You got big Jonathan Ford for the interior stuff. And then on the edge, you got Booker and maybe one of these younger other guys emerges. And, I'm loving what I'm hearing about, Dominique Robinson, but let's see if that lasts once the pads come on, So that second unit, I think they're trying to figure out how to bolster that. And so to me, the wise move to make is to take Andrew Billings off of that first unit and have him lead the second team, the second wave, rather. So to me, that's like the smartest thing in the world to do to keep, you keep the stoutness of your run game intact. You also are given, because he can get upfield and play some three tech, you can move him back and forth to nose, three tech. You can do a couple things with him. And some of these other guys might get one-on-one opportunities more so than if you didn't have Andrew Billings on the field, because he's a force. When Andrew Billings is out there, you got to game plan for that guy. You got to, because he can get up the field. He's a damn monster. And so that's just my thoughts. It would not surprise me if that was the starting four and Andrew Billings led that second wave. That's what I think could happen. And so it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of people are feeling a certain kind of way because they haven't really seen Dio on the field yet. I don't know what was going on there, but that's fine, man. It's just OTA sessions, and none of that stuff really matters until we get into, the real training camp, when they put on those pads and lace them up and get busy for real. That's when you're going to see Dio Odingo. And so I wasn't worried about it. And, people are talking about maybe he shouldn't be a starter. I don't know how people get these wild mood swings to say stuff like that. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Let me see. Yes, sir, JJ. That would work well for Chris Williams. I think that's another guy. I got several guys circled, JJ. Several guys circled. He's one of them. Chris Williams is definitely one of them who I think is gonna cut up in this camp. It's gonna show improve. It's gonna be definitely gonna be Chris Williams. I think I got a small circle around Jonathan Ford. I think he can show improve. J.P. Richardson. Let me see. Off the top of my head, I want to see what Xavier Carlton does at edge. What they do with what they do, I think Elijah Hicks is going to be an interesting guy to talk about moving forward, JJ. I think Elijah Hicks at safety, I'm telling you guys, man, I saw some stuff on film with him, and you get to looking at the first installment or two with Elijah Hicks under Flus and playing that zone coverage. He was a little lighter. He was a little bit brittle too, man. He was getting hurt up a whole lot. He packed on some muscle within the last year, and he is starting to understand it. I heard Kevin Byard say this last year right before the season started, and somebody asked him, who is it that you're starting to notice and who's really, really sticking out? Without even blinking, he said Elijah Hicks is playing some ball. He's like, I don't know what was going on with him before I got here, but I'm telling you right now, he is playing some great safety right now. And so that carried on until Elijah Hicks got hurt last year. And so I think most people are looking at some of the UDFAs to basically bump Elijah Hicks out of the frame, and he's not going to be part. Nah, I got to tell you, man, I got a feeling. See, this is why I think it might be more to him than the average eye could tell. I saw Elijah Hicks in college when he was at Cal. I looked at a couple of years of his stuff. First thing that stuck out to me is how twitchy he is. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, why is he playing safety. You know, he's a little light. He's about 190 pounds, 185, 190 pounds playing weight, playing free safety. And I'm just like, that's always been a little bit light to me. Because when you got to come down from a certain distance and fill a hole, fill a gap, and it's a running back, by the time you get to him, he's at full speed. You need some meat on them shoulders. You need some behind on you. You need some ass too. And I'm just like, but he was like a damn angry badger out there. But he played. And so they kept him at safety. I was just like, he's got the twitch, he's got the footwork and the transition ability. He can move his hips pretty fluid, man. He's a really, really good mover. I was like, wouldn't surprise me if they gave him some slot reps in this camp. I think Elijah Hicks would make a damn good slot corner if they were to move Kyler and start giving Kyler a little bit more safety reps to, keep him on the field more. You got to move other guys around to give them reps in other places to try to get them on the field. So that's going to open up a little void, and it would not surprise me. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would not surprise me to see Elijah Hicks get some slot corner reps in this camp. He's definitely got the body type to do it. He's got the twitch. He's got the feet, the transition ability. I think he works well in the short area. I think if I'm Dennis Allen, I'm definitely going to give him some reps, straight up. So that's what I think. He's another guy I'm paying close attention to. People have kind of wrote him off since last year, but I ain't one of those people. Just wanted to mention that. Let me see. JJ Smiley says Hicks has been quietly good as a 7th rounder out of my neck of the woods in Northern Cali. What part of Northern Cali you at? I got homies from like one of my favorite teammates is we used to call him Full Go. Can't say his name, but man, he's from San Bernardino. Oh my goodness, man. Dude was when I first met him, I heard everybody call him Full Go. I'm like, why y'all calling him that? He's like, man, you'll see once we get on the field. And it's like this dude, like one day we were supposed to be we just had helmets on this day. Man, this cat come out of a locker room fully padded. Sacramento. Shout out to Sacramento. I know a couple of guys from there too. This guy come out of the locker room fully padded, ready to go. I'm just like, man, hey man, what you doing? I mean, you're only supposed to have your helmet on, man. This ain't one of them days. It's like, nah, dude, I want to run in my whole. And the coaches had to get on him because they know how he is. Like the minute he puts on them pads, he's ready to hit something. That's just how he practiced. He was always full go. No matter what the practice was, somebody gonna get knocked down because that's how physical the cat was. He was a strong safety in our defense, man. But I wish I could say his name right now, but I say his first name. Guy's name Stacy, man. That motherfucker was hardcore. When I tell you, I love the way he plays. He's like a faster Jaquan Brisker, the same body build, exact same body build, height, weight, everything. But man, he was a dog, man. So yeah, Northern Cali. We got some dudes up out of Northern Cali, Southern Cali. Yeah, we got some everywhere in Cali. Some LA Cats, San Bernardino. That's when I learned he not that I don't even think San Bernardino is part of that Inland Empire thing they got going on, that little Cali gang stuff. But he used to tell me a lot about it. I didn't know nothing about Cali gangs, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that, man. My guy Stacy, he's a dog. Let me see. The Bay Area, huh? I played out in Berkeley. Played out there. The only time I've been to California, I believe. But yeah, the defense, man. So the whole conversation about how Dennis Allen is going to play in this defense, it's not hard to tell once you go look at the all 22. It's not hard to tell. Matter of fact, I will layer on another one for you guys. I think this team, in fact, I know this roster, this defensive roster, this personnel that he has now, I would just say talent-wise, they're twice as good as the roster he just had in New Orleans. I would just say that. Shout out to Levante who just busted up in here. Rocket Dream. Shout out to you guys, man. I would just say he's got a hugely upgraded roster with this Bears roster and the pieces they just added to it. To me on film, there's the only difference in Dennis Allen coaching that team and this team moving forward is he had those guys for a few years. Most of the guys on that defense, he's had them for at least 3 years. most of the core guys he's had out there. Most of them, at least 3 years. And that makes a difference. But the talent on this roster and what he'll be able to do, as far as the blitz packages go and some of the, like Kyler is such a Kyler, if you go look at Flott is the slot corner in New Orleans. Very similar skill set to Kyler. I think Kyler is a little bit more athletic than Flott, but Flott's a bad boy. I saw him. I think he's out of Tennessee. Watched him on tape before he came out, but he's a tough dude. Who was that from San Jose, Cali? Shout out to San Jose, California, Rocket Dream. Where y'all at, man? Where y'all at? I want to see where everybody's from. Cali. I don't know why we're talking about Cali today, but I love my Cali brothers. But the pieces that we have to play with, when you hear Javon Dexter saying, and he said this I think it was on Fox on an interview with the blonde lady. I never can remember her name. Cassie something, I think. Anyway, he was talking, and sometimes I look at Javon Dexter and watch him respond to something. He was trying not to. Shout out to you, Levante. Just what you just get through cooking, man. He was trying to, I can tell he was going through his head on trying to figure out how to respond to a question about, why she was asking him something about why do you think Dennis Allen's defense is complex? And it took him a minute and he was going through the files in his brain. I can see him thinking. When you can see somebody thinking, they're just trying to fix their words and say it the right way. And so basically what came out of him was he said, all I can tell you is just a lot of bullets flying. And so when I was breaking that down a couple of weeks ago, talking about what that meant, or at least a week ago, what that meant is what's going to be different for him is how he aligns in the front. And so what's important for him is to make sure he's right at the right angle and lined up in exactly the right space, because he's supposed to know exactly who's supposed to be firing behind him, whether it's TJ Edwards, Tremaine, whoever, a corner or a slot, the safety, whoever it is. Those are the bullets that are going to be flying. Those are the bullets that are going to be flying that he's talking about. Everybody's going to be firing up through gaps and putting pressure on the quarterback. And so that's going to be hugely different than what we're used to with Matt Eberflus. You're going to see a lot of simulated pressure. And so what does a simulated pressure mean? I'll say that again. That's when you have whatever down front you have, whether it's a 4-man front, which we have, 3-man front, or whatever it is. If you're not getting the proper pressure with those 3 or 4 guys, how do you simulate more pressure? You use other guys from other layers of the defense. It could be the slot corner. It could be a safety. It could be one of the linebackers. Either one of those guys, or in any kind of combination, that's simulated pressure. So, and the simulated pressure packages, they're probably, if I'm Dennis Allen, I'm reaching out to all of my coaches. Like, man, you know what? You guys compile all the simulated pressures you can compile. Let's get together when we get this camp started, and let's see which one of these guys we'll be able to use once the season starts. Because I know it's going to be a whole bunch of them. It's got to be a whole bunch of them. Because all those dynamic players that we have, man, come on, dude. Really, some guys can really, really get downhill. TJ, Tremaine, Kyler, Jaquan. You got Kevin Byard, who's a slept-on blitzer. Man, I don't know who that was. He then took him out of his socks. Crazy. Let me see. Smothered chicken breast with spaghetti. That's, man, you eating good over there, homeboy. Real good. That sounds good. Smothered chicken breast with some spaghetti. Hey, that sounds good. I ain't eat that much tonight. All I had was a whack-ass sandwich, man, turkey sandwich. I'm tired of that. But yeah, man, defensively, we'll talk a little bit more in the detail about that tonight, man. Tomorrow on the show on Nomad at Night with Sean and kids. But it's going to be a good show, man. You guys are going to want to tune into that. Because once me and Sean get going, man, and start talking about schematics and real deal X's and O's football, that can go all over the place, man. You guys will love that, man, because you put 2 football people in the room that have passion like that for the game, nothing but fireworks going to happen, not in a bad way, but just good football content is going to come out of that for sure. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. But by the way, anybody, you see the Cash App down there. I hesitate to even put that out there because I don't want people to think, okay, he's just doing this for money. But the reality of it is, and I'm not, but the reality of it is Yes, I do love doing this content. Yes, I do love this community. Yes, I do love putting all this stuff out for you guys. I love creating it. When it's fun creating it, this people feel that. But the truth and reality about the bills that you have to pay every month to keep this coming, just to be able to broadcast to you out of StreamYard, that costs $100 a month. Just that's just one bill. The shorts and all the other stuff that comes with it, man, you have to get it costs money. So why I put it there is so that people can remember. Some people don't take to doing super chats and things like that. Some people would rather. Some people have already done it privately. I'll thank them thank whoever sends any kind of donation because we could use it. This is God's honest truth. Ain't no need for me to sit here in front and act like we don't use it. I put it there because we need it. So I'm just offering that to you guys anytime you guys feel like it. And you got to look. Everybody needs their money. I get it. Everybody needs their money, but if you have it in you to help us out, man, that'd be great. There's the Cash App. You can send it directly to me, and trust me, it ain't going in my pocket. It's going towards getting more and more stuff. It's going towards getting more and more stuff, be out there to put out better content, and just you'll see it. You know what I mean? Any kind of money or donations anybody sends, you'll see them. People start sending in donations, and all of a sudden, all them good shorts start to come out. Those things cost you probably $300 a rip. Because every time you see a short out there, you saw shorts for a long time in this during that draft session. You probably saw 8 to 10 shorts a day. Every last one of them costs credits, and they just dig into. You pay $300 for a whole book of them, and they go away fast when you got to put out that amount of content. You covering all those players, so it was really nice that we got really good, good donations at that time that was able to get those. That's you guys bought those. All the people who donated to the channel, sent super chats and things like that. You guys bought all that content. In order to keep it going, we just need to keep a certain amount of that content. So just I had to put that out there. That's why you see the Cash App down there on the bottom. Let me read a comment here. He said, "What kind of drink you drink?" Rocket Dream says, "What kind of drink you drink?" I'll send something. You can get a bottle. I like liquor. My girlfriend always buys Jameson, but that ain't my favorite. My favorite thing, to be honest with you, is either Patron or Don Julio. I love tequila, personally. That's what I like. I appreciate you, Rocket Dream. I appreciate that, man. I ain't gonna. You want me to get the bottle? I'll get it, man, because that's what you're saying specifically. That's what you're sending the money for. I'm gonna go get a bottle of a Dom or Patron for that with that money. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. I would definitely appreciate that. But back to some football. Let me see. What else you guys want to talk about? I love talking about defense, man. I can sit here and talk about defense for 2 or 3 hours by my damn self because I'm so excited about what to expect. Now, this whole conversation about Ruben Hippolyte and Noah Sewell, I think that's going to be a duel. But in my eyes, if I'm Dennis Allen, you're gonna want to put that speed on the field. Anytime you have a 6'1", 236-pound linebacker that can run a 4.3 and can run with fast running backs, that can run with slot receivers and can run with, I don't know about too many slot receivers. I wouldn't put that on them too often, but once in a while you get caught out there on the field, you need to cover somebody, you can cover them. But the tight ends for sure. You want that speed on the field. But I am telling you guys, and I've been saying it, good luck beating out, and I would just put what I would allot most of my reps for Ruben Hippolyte would be at backing up TJ Edwards or Tremaine at Will or Mike. That's where I would be concentrating his reps at. I think that Sam linebacker totally, Noah Sewell so totally physically gifted and geared for that position. It's insane. His body type. You're talking about a 250-pound, 6'2", 250-pound linebacker, 6'3", however tall he is. He's a big kid, and he's physical. You gotta. One thing I will say this again, and I mentioned this before: the Sam linebacker role. You have to understand in a defense, like most teams have their sub packages on the field most downs. Sub packages means base 4-3 is 3 linebackers, 4 down linemen. What is that? 3 down linemen and 4 DBs. 4 DBs. I might have said that wrong, but DBs are corner, safety. No slot corner. That's package stuff, which teams primarily use from down in, down out. Every now and again, you'll see the three linebacker look on the field where you can employ your Sam linebacker. So it's not like the Sam linebacker is going to play a hella big role in this defense. It just doesn't exist no more. And probably about 25 years ago, that was every team had three linebackers on the field all the time. But this ain't that NFL anymore. Most team use sub package looks. Most downs, down in, down out, sub packages. So you're gonna see that nickel corner out there, dime safety, whatever it is. So it's like the Sam linebacker role is it's damn near, be honest with you, just damn near obsolete. I would hate to be a player and that this is my designated role because you ain't gonna see the field that much. You gotta find other ways to get him involved. And so yeah, Sam linebacker role, I mean, it's not a very celebrated role, to be honest with you. Let me read a comment. He said, Levante says, I wish you would stop acting so modest when we all know these things cost money. Don't be shy to ask. Grandma always says, closed mouths don't get fed. We appreciate that you kids and Triple R for the show. Man, we appreciate you all. I was born a certain kind of way, man. It's too much. I probably got too much pride sometimes, and I like to deal with stuff on my own. But the truth is, you're right, Levante, man. You do need to ask, man. You do need to really humble yourself enough to ask. And as hard as that is for me, because I'm so independent and used to doing things on my own, never asking nobody for nothing. That's hard. But when you're in this and you want to produce the right kind of stuff and do it the right way, you definitely gonna need some cash help to do it for sure. You definitely gonna need. I appreciate that, Levante. That's love, bro. But all right, what was we talking about? Football and defense. Let me think of I don't even have a plan here, you guys. I just wanted to get on here because I felt like talking about some football, and I start to feel when we haven't been out there enough, and I kind of feel a void sometimes when if you look at Monday through Sunday podcasts, you expect certain podcasts to be there at certain times, different days, different hours. You know what to expect. There's going to be a show on certain nights all the time, but I feel bad on Saturday nights sometimes because there's nothing out there, and I know there's so many more Bears content hungry people like me out there. It's just like I felt like it was a void. I was like, let me just go ahead and jump out here and talk some football with them. I mean, I think the community of it all is what hits me real good, man, because just having somebody to talk to about the stuff that you got going on in your mind about, I'm sitting with Bears thoughts swimming around in my head all the damn time, all the time. And sometimes I just want to plug in and do a show and let's go, man. Let's just talk about some football, man. So that's why I did it tonight, because I knew it's probably hard to find some content out here on a Saturday night. I was like, man, let me go out here and just jump out here and kick it with the community. We just talk some ball, just some general football, man. So that's what the mindset was tonight. Let me see. Then he said, Levante says Dennis Allen will have the defense and more base defense. We're gonna see, man. One of these days, I'm gonna sit down and go through some of the snap counts and how many of the base defenses that he put out there. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't see a lot of three linebacker sets. It was a lot of Demario Davis, what's his name, Pete Werner, and those were the linebackers, and a lot of Cordell Flott. A lot of extra safety looks, different things like that. But it was hard to find. I ain't gonna say I just can't remember seeing a whole lot of. I would just say that I don't remember seeing a whole lot of third linebackers on the field. But I'll go back and look for you all. Just check it out again. Check him out. And Andre Bond says, any worries for Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson moving around the field based on matchups now? Since they just stayed on one side of the field for multiple years. Nah, not really. That's Andre, to be honest with you, just knowing how a cornerback thinks and operates. Yeah, you can get used to covering a certain area, and that kind of muscle memory can, over a while can be kind of monotonous, to be honest with you, because it gets boring sometimes, man. You covering one side of the field all the time when you want to move around and you got a little something going on, a receiver that been talking a little too much shit and you want to get on him. In this defense, they'll be able to do that instead of being, quartered to one side of the field, one quarter of the field, whatever it is in that zone concept. Yeah, I don't think. Matter of fact, you talking about those two guys in particular. To be honest with you, those two guys and Kyler, I think, are more uniquely suited to adapt to this defense than any of the corners on this team. Those three guys in particular, just because of their skill sets. Just because of their skill set. Like Jalen is a shutdown corner. He man-to-man, he's a shutdown, tack-up man-to-man corner. So is Tyreek. That's what he did at Miami. Miami's known for that. Miami was known for that. Get in your face, tack up, play some man-to-man. And so it'd be like, all right, I just spent this amount of time, playing this different kind of format that I ain't used to. It's all right. Playing a little zone concept, playing in space, that's all right. But I'd rather he's a competitive, both of them are competitive, chippy guys, and they want that action. They want that smoke. And so, they're going to get beat, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't expect them, I don't think people should expect them to go out there and every time they take reps out there, they're just going to be shutting everybody down and they're going to get beat. They're going to get beat. Some good receivers out there are going to beat their ass. The truth, but the really good ones have really, really short memories, and they can't wait to get to the next play and get them the next time. So that's the kind of temperament both of those guys have. That's why I think they're uniquely suited. They're uniquely suited to come right back and get your ass the next time around. I think they'll flourish in Dennis Allen's defense, 110%. Levante says, remember base 4-3 change, Nomad, from a 3 linebacker set to a 2 linebacker set. And the MB plays 80-85% of the time. You know what? To an extent, you're probably right. To an extent, you're probably right. That's just the 4-3 base defense concept that I knew, that I played in. I speak from that. And yeah, over time, I guess you're probably right. Based on the amount of changes that's happened with that concept and how much sub work comes in, man, the 4-3 base concept is probably different. Probably right. But let me see. Let me think of something else we could talk about before I get up out of here. Off season, man. I think we're gonna find out some stuff, and this is another thing I would pay close attention to. This is on the other side of the ball on offense. I think that number 2 running back potentially could be up for grabs. The RB2 could be up for grabs. I think they probably, some about Roschon Johnson prevented them from grabbing a running back a little bit early and waiting to the 7th round. I'm not taking anything away from Kyle Monunga. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wasn't all the way impressed with him when I watched him on tape. No need me lying to you all. He's gonna have to, take NFL reps and kind of show me what he can do on this level. Can he avoid the hit in the hole? And does he have that lateral quickness to be able to jump cut and all that kind of stuff that I want to see? He's got some decent little lateral agility, but I want to see, some running backs, you can just see it outright. Some running backs just have it outright, and there is no doubt about it. And then you got that next wave of running backs, which I put Kyle Monunga in. It's like, all right, let me see if that works on the next level. Let's see what he does with NFL speed, how quickly those holes close up, and how he adjusts to it to make that second move to get out of the way and make some hay. I just want to see. He could. I'm not doubting him, but he's going to have to show me something for sure, no doubt about it. But I think that RB2 could be up for grabs, and I still say that running back room ain't complete. I think there could be another piece added at some point during the camp or afterwards. I believe that. Let me get to another statement here. Andre Bryan says, okay, so based on Ben's offense and Dennis's defense, the Bears will be excited to watch, and it won't be boring games. I do think it's going to be a level of excitement to it, Andre. And I think it's about flow, man. It really is. When it comes to a football game, or whether you're talking about the offense or defense, it's about a certain flow, a certain rhythm. And you can feel it while you're watching the game. You can tell when teams are struggling and kind of putting and hit and miss here. We had a lot of that going on last year in Shane Waldron's offense. There was times when it was hot. There was time when it was not. It was time when they can run the ball a little bit. Times when they couldn't. Different stuff. And so the team, the really good teams, man, they get a consistent flow, and the coaches figure out why this team is getting that consistent flow, whether it be the offensive guy or the defensive guy, and they start kind of doubling down on those things that are giving them that consistent flow. They are going to need to play a certain amount of time on that field, time on the grass in real live games to get that steady flow. And I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know how long that's going to take, because to be honest with you, I don't think this camp is going to be long enough. It's not going to be long enough. They don't have enough time in pads to really show and prove what this thing can be. The amount of physical contact has been taken out of training camp. It's just, I can't even explain to y'all how upset that makes me, because I know they're not physically ready for what they need to be getting physically ready for. It's just not enough time. But the flow aspect of it is really about offensively. It's going to be about the time spent together with that offensive line. I'm talking about those particular guys. Whenever the faster the left tackle situation shakes out, the better it's going to be for the overall offensive line. They can figure out exactly who is going to definitely be there, and so we can get used to having reps next to him. So that part is going to need to get ironed out fast. They need some time to gel. And then, once they start to get that, I don't know if that's going to be, I doubt if it's going to be by the time we get into the first game. I highly doubt that. I think they're going to need a game or two, to be honest with you. I think most teams do need a game or two at least to really start finding that flow, that gel, and that consistency we want to see, man. And start to, and out of that comes those explosive plays, because you're comfortable with some stuff. Now I can kind of open up the playbook a little bit and let them go ahead and start attacking. And so I just say you might see some trickeration if the offense gets stagnant or something early in games, the first game or two, but it's going to really kind of blow mushroom out as they get used to each other in the scheme and get used to what to expect. So defensively, kind of the same thing. A little, kind of you'll have some guys running into each other at first, man, until they get used to playing off of each other, getting the right alignment and spacing between each other so the other one can work. Talking about the defensive front and the guys that are coming behind them, making sure you align right so that they can do their job behind you, all that kind of stuff. So it's just not, I think the defensive backs, whether it be the corners or the safeties, will have the easiest transition out of everybody. Running backs, defensive backs, maybe linebackers, you can throw them, but the defensive front and the offensive front, that takes the longest. You could say the receivers, depending on how the play scheme is designed, they might run into some struggles here and there, but it's just amount of retaining information and getting stuff down in your head. But finding that flow on your defense and offensive front is of the utmost importance, and we won't be any better than those two units. If those two units are going, we're going to be going. If they're struggling, we're going to be struggling. Guaranteed. Football is won in the trenches. You can put money on that. So that's my thoughts about that. Let me see. Andre Bryan says, seems like Ben Johnson seems like a guy who will gamble a lot to win or lose games. That's why they signed and drafted a lot of guys with speed. Speed is, listen, man, if you can apply the speed and know how to use the speed to your advantage, like it seems like Ben Johnson is, he's that kind of guy. He's got, different ways to scheme guys open and get guys big plays. It's going to be a lot of guys in that offense that normally, like, let's just talk tight ends for a second. Let's just talk tight ends. I remember one time somebody told me something about, I forget the tight end in Detroit, who I think he's a slightly above average tight end. But, he wouldn't, I think you put him on a team that kind of struggled schematically and getting tight ends open and in the space. I think he's an average football player. But within Ben Johnson's scheme, you saw him kind of excel because in the schematics of that offense, Ben Johnson is a master at getting guys in space and creating the space for those guys to get open in. Flood concepts, mesh concepts, different stuff that he does and schemes into, some of the stuff is so deliberate what he's trying to do. Like the play before, the play before that, the big play that happened is the thing to pay attention to. Like you see a big play happen, in whatever part of the game, pay attention to what he might have did before the play before. What did he do? Or did he try this play or show this look earlier in the game and the defense reacted to it this way? I don't know if I'm making any sense to you, but I'm gonna say it. How the defense reacts to a certain look is gonna prompt a good play caller to go back into that well and call this way. Whether he gave the look to this side or gave the look to the other side, he's gonna go back to it and give some trickeration off of it because the defense appeared to bite on it. And so different things like that, nuanced stuff. You watch enough of that Detroit tape, and you can see the method in its madness, man. So it wasn't very complicated stuff that Ben Johnson was doing. Not at all. Wasn't complicated at all. I've always said that. It's the truth. He doesn't run very complicated stuff. But what he does run, he runs it very, very well. And with the addition of that O-line that he had, that cohesion that offensive line had, the two running backs they had to, that aspect alone is going to make the play action way more deadly because you're going to have some bite up and you're going to be able to attack or threaten teams down the field. This is just going to open up that area. I mean, it's just so many different things. So what's going to have to happen in our offense, he is going to have to establish the running game and establish it early in order for any of this shit to work. If that's not going, Ben Johnson's, I don't care who the offensive strategist is. I don't care how good he is. If you ain't establishing your will on that in the run game, you're going to struggle in the rest of your game altogether, period. So he's got to make sure that we're getting that ball. We're getting 4 yards a chunk, 5 yards a chunk. We're good in the short area. We're down to the 3rd and 2. We're getting those first downs. If you establish that, everything else is game. Everything. So that's what we have to look forward to, man. You know what? I would love to go on for another hour or so, but my girlfriend just texted me right as this thing started and said she was getting ready to get off at 9:15. And so let me get up out of here, man. I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you, Rocket Dreams, for offering to shoot me that Cash App. I will do exactly what you said and go get either some Don or some Patron with that money. So I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, man, make sure you hit the like, you share the stuff with your people, because I think we don't do enough of that around here. We do not share with our friends and make sure people know that this content is here and it's good, and we want you to know about it. So do a little bit of that sometime. Share with your people, man. So we appreciate you all. Don't forget, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central, we got Nomad at Night, my guy Sean Sierra from Sports Zone Chicago / Sean Sierra Sports Now. I got to be clear about that. He's going to come on and chop it over with me and kids. We're going to get all into some of the schematics we've been talking about here tonight. We're going to take it to another level tomorrow when Sean gets here, man. We're going to really chop it up and have some fun. But I definitely appreciate y'all. Comment. We're going to talk about him tomorrow, too. I got some good takes for him tomorrow, man. So shout out to you all, man. Y'all have a happy, good evening, man. And stay out of trouble. It's a nice night, man. Go outside on the porch and go hang out, whatever you're going to do. Beautiful out there. Grab your drink. Have a good time, man. Love you all. I got to leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, I am out.